Thank you so much for joining me on another Novel Escape. My name is Trevon, and this is going to be part of the novel writing series. I think this is video number one. Yeah, this is going to be video number one. So I decided I am going to write a novel. It's an idea that I've been messing with for a long time. It's going to be epic fantasy. And so I decided I'm going to try to get it done before the end of this year. And which is huge for me because I've written books before. I don't think I though took them as serious as I should have. So, but this one I am going to go all in, and I want to make sure that it is a fantastic piece of work that people love. And I'm so even if it means like 15 revisions, then it's just what it is. I'm gonna do it until it's right, because I think I will grow as a person, as a writer, as a result. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So I just want to kind of take you guys some of my thought processes, and yeah, let's jump right into it. Now, I've already recorded this video and so, but it didn't record properly. Like the screen was black because I'm recording directly to my computer. So the document I was using, I already deleted, and now I'm going to have to recreate it all over again. So anyways, one of the issues that we run into as writers is called writer's block, right? And it can be a real thing. It can be a real thing, but it can be completely unavoidable. I've been reading the book Story from Robert McKee. And Robert was saying that one of the reasons writers run into writer's block is because we're not completely familiar with the world that we're writing, and as a result, we run into writer's block. We run out of things to write, and really, we shouldn't. If you knew your world well enough, you would never run out of things to write and end up in writer's block. And so, one of the things I want to make sure that I do is not to run into writer's block. Now, and so I am taking the time to know my world. I already started my outlining process, but I'm updating my world as I go along. Now, again, one of the things I've been thinking about, it is based on our current society, and I call it the 5 mountains, right? Actually, let me just put it down right here. Let me put up my screen real quick. Let's call it the 5 mountains. All right, great. The 5 mountains. So now I think this is something that is in sociology. People who study society and what have you. So people who are in sociology will know this stuff already, but again, I find just thinking of it in the systematic way, I think helps me at least to kind of make sure I go as detailed as possible with my world building and with building out my society, and so on. So the first mountain that we're gonna take a look at is government and politics. Now, government and politics. Now, how does that? Now, politics. The word politics, I believe, means power, right? So, what is the power structure of your government? All right. What's the power structure in your book, in the story? How are things ruled? How are decisions made on the lives of other characters? And this is sort of the way that sorry, lost my train of thought there. But anyways, what's the power structure? So if you have like Hogwarts, what's the power structure in Hogwarts? You have if you have Lord of the Rings, what the power structures there? You have different cities, you have different kingdoms and what have you. You have different kings that rule different areas of Middle Earth. You have Gandalf, not Gandalf. In Hogwarts, you have Albus. You have Dumbledore. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forget his name. Dumbledore. That's in Hogwarts, and he's the headmaster, and then below him you might have the teachers, and then you have maybe the staff. How do the staff and then you have the ghosts. How do they play a part? How how does what they do change the overall lifestyle or lives of each individual character and so on. So the government is a huge deal. Though sometimes your story can be so inwardly focused that it's not necessarily the government as a whole. Maybe it's just like the power structure of your character's life. Who is it that, maybe if you're talking about a family, or if you're talking about a single character and it's going to be super skewed, what's the power structure within their lives? Who makes decisions for them? Who or what decision making outside of themselves is going to will affect their lives? If you're talking about a family, who's the head of the family? That kind of thing. So what's the power structure? Oh, this camera is on a tilt. Let me see if I can tilt it. No. All right. Oh, I don't want to mess it up because this is like my second time recording. All right, next. So we have government. Now let's go down the line. We have business and economy. You just say commerce, MMERC. All right, so we have business, economy, commerce, right? So how do people make money? What is considered things of worth? What's wealthy versus not wealthy? Who has wealth? How does the wealth get dispersed, and so on? So these are things that are important. Again, they might not end up being a direct focus in the story, but it might just be like, you're walking through a market, and what kind of money do they use in the market, and stuff like that. So taking the time to break down these different things, in like the Bible of your story or the background of your story will definitely help, right? All right, so business. What's next? We have education. How educated are your characters? Is education a requirement? Do you need to be able to read and write? For Harry Potter, for instance, I'm referring a lot to Harry Potter, but for Harry Potter, you need to be able to read and write the different spell books, and you need to be able to do certain things and follow directions, and so on and so on. Someone who is unable to read would probably have a hard time in the Harry Potter universe, because you need that, right? Unless there's like say for instance, Wheel of Time. You have, was it Wheel of Time? I forget who had wild mages. I forget who mages or magicians or whoever who don't have any formal training, who are simply learning it on their own. I forget what story has wild mages in it, but yeah, that's a possibility. Do you need education? And where does education put you in the scope of things? There are certain stories, especially Wheel of Time, where men don't know how to read. And so for a man to know how to read, it's like, what, are you a woman? Like, that's weird, So what part does education play in your story? All right, so next. Again, different stories might have different levels of importance with this, but again, knowing these things will definitely make your story more rich, right? And then two, even if you're not into writing books, I think understanding these things in stories and seeing how they work in books and stuff like that, I think it makes the experience of reading a book more, it brings more to the experience of reading a book when you kind of pay attention to these things, right? So entertainment is the next one. You have entertainment, right? Let me put that up on the screen. So we have government, business, education, and entertainment. Now, entertainment, I think, is probably one of the most important parts of any story, right? Because entertainment, if you really think about it, entertainment also defines culture, right? How people entertain themselves in your book or in the story is going to... Sorry, I just got to make sure this thing is recording. I hate to record this again. So how people entertain themselves in your story will determine their culture, will determine how... because entertainment is almost like the icing on the cake. You don't need entertainment to live, but it makes life bearable when you have a level of entertainment. If you go to work every day and that's all you do, then life becomes just a drag, right? But if you with entertainment, it adds a level of like icing to the cake. It brings enjoyment to whatever life you have. You don't need it in life, but it does build culture. So you look at like Harry Potter, for instance, and I see the impact of Harry Potter on all the culture, on all culture, right? Because with how big it was, taking into account after Harry Potter finished, and there all of a sudden became a market um, for middle grade books of kids going off to a private school and learning magic and all this other stuff, and so you know there became a market for that stuff, and as a result that started to change like the business world a little bit. And then all of a sudden t-shirts, I have a Hogwarts t-shirt, um and so on. And so and two, like I feel as if like the book The Hate You Give, for instance, which really which has like a motivation behind it. That book did very well. And to see when BLM was kind of like was going crazy, 2020, when there was lots of protests and so on, I think books, I live here in Connecticut, and I was driving through certain towns, and there were towns where there was people demonstrating and so on, and there was like no black people in the entire crowd. It was all white people that were there, Caucasian, whatever, right, that were there demonstrating on behalf of the racial injustice, which is great. But I think that a lot of that awareness came from entertainment. A lot of that stuff came out of entertainment, and I think the entertainment built up a culture. I don't think that definitely didn't come from government. It definitely didn't come from the business world, because the business world is based on money. Education, maybe, but I don't think education. I mean, we've been educated for a number of years. You see what I'm saying? But then the people, I think, who build cultures are the entertainers, and that's one of the reasons why too. Anyways, I'm going to do a video on each one of these different mountains and see how we have it in our world and how it is in story worlds and stuff like that. But anyways, entertainment. And that's why we read books, is to be entertained. And to tell the truth, a lot of times when a book is very well written, it can change the culture of your own personal culture in your own household. I've gone to people's houses where they have witch brooms and witch hats because of Harry Potter. I'm sure a lot of you probably watching this video does. So anyways, and it stems from entertainment, right? So entertainment has a way of building culture. So next, we have entertainment, and then last but not least, we have religion. Now religion, it deals with, again, I'm probably going to get pushback on this, but that's all right. Let me know in the comment if you agree. But religion really deals with faith. So what you believe about yourself, about the people around you, and your world, right? So what you believe about yourself, your religion. And now it doesn't have to be an organized religion. It could just be what your faith is, and organized in the sense of like something that already has a Bible, and that has like a system of beliefs and stuff like that. But what you believe about yourself, what you believe about the people around you, what you believe about your world. Imagine someone who sees their world as just horrible, even though everybody else around them sees the world as beautiful and wonderful and so on and so on. This guy sees the world as just the most horrible place. So then what you believe about yourself, and again, you can see how this is going to impact the story, right? And so knowing like each you know, each individual person inside your story might have a different religion, or it might be organized where a group of people have the same belief system about their world, about themselves, and about each other, and so on. So, you know, this is going to impact, again, eliminating writer's block, right? All right, moving on. This video is getting kind of long. This is my second time doing it now. Last, but now I have an honorable mention. Now I said 5 mountains, but I'm gonna put an honorable mention in there for our epic fantasy or just fantasy readers, right? Whether it be urban, epic, fantasy, or whatever it might be. You will have a magic system. You got to know your magic system. How does your magic work in your story? Now, again, a ton of videos on these things like magic systems and stuff like that, and how to create a great magic system. Where, you know, one of the one of the most unique persons to come up with unique magic systems is Brandon Sanderson, and he always says that a magic system need cost, right? It's not just like unlimited, you can do whatever you want to do. There has to be a cost to it in order to limit what you're able to do. So yeah, magic systems are cool, and I think knowing that. Now, magic systems oftentimes are birthed from the religion, right? What you believe about yourself, about other people in the world around you. And so magic systems often birthed from that, but who knows, you can probably change it, you know. Is it possible to create a magic system that's birthed from the culture, from entertainment, you know, or from education? Some magic systems are birthed from education, right? I remember reading this book. I forget the name of it right now, but every time the character would go and find a new tome and read the tome, he would gain understanding of it, and he would be able to cast a spell, right? He would have to know certain words and certain things, and he would have to repeat the spells, either speaking it or mention it from his head, and then he would be able to cast it. Sometimes it's from education. Other times, again, it's from religion, like intent. Because from what you believe about yourself is also like how you will act as a result. We always act according to our belief, like what we believe, right? So and our will and determination, how determined we are to do something, is based on what we believe. And so like a lot of magic systems are based on that, you know, on your belief. Now, again, Brandon Sanderson's, for instance, Elantris is based on runes that you write, and you have to know the runes, right? I haven't seen a magic system based on the government or in business before, but that, who knows, you could come up with something interesting based on that, you know. So yeah, here are the 5 mountains. This is kind of the things I'm thinking about to write the background story or the world for my story. So it's not just about map building. The map is probably like one of the easiest parts, you know. Just take a continent and flip it on its side, and you got yourself a map, and you just tear it into different places, put up a couple mountains and valleys, rivers, and whatever in different places, and there you go. It's not just about building a map and coming up with a magic system, but there are all these other elements like government, business, education, entertainment, religion, that is important too, you know. And you know, speaking of religion, again, Game of Thrones, organized religion, you have the Sept, you know, the Seven, you know, the Crone, the, you know, whatever it is, these different things. And then, you know, if it's epic like Game of Thrones, and you have like the different areas like King's Landing and Winterfell, and you know, all these different places, they might have different religions, they might have different governments, they might, you know, maybe it's the businessmen who run the, you know, who are on the councils that run the government. The power structure is based on business. Who knows, maybe it's based on education. So all these things offer so many rich options. And after this, man, if you are still running into writer's block, then, you know, maybe writing is just not for you. I'm just kidding. all right. Anyways, thank you again for joining me. This was a little bit longer of a video than I generally do, but hopefully it was chock full of information that you might enjoy. wonderful day. Peace.